Welcome to Radnor Studio 21 and Relationship Matters. My name is Linda Hershman. I'm the owner of the Couples and Family Wellness Center, providing counseling in Chester County for adults, children, families, teens, tweens, and couples, also trauma and first responders. And today we are going to be talking about a very difficult subject. We're going to be talking about divorce, and unfortunately 40-some% of us will experience a divorce in a first marriage, and the numbers are much higher in a second marriage. Even if you are the person who wants and is initiating the divorce, it is never an easy thing. And today I am really excited and happy to introduce my guest, Pamela Elaine Nichols. Pamela is a divorce recovery coach and the author of a book called Muddy High Heels. And before I let Pam talk about her story, I just want to say that I'm really excited to have her here today. We met at a Healthy Divorce Professionals group several years ago. The minute I met her, all I could think of, she has amazing energy. I have to get to know her. And I fangirl stalked her for a long time before she decided to finally become my friend. And here we are. Pam, thank you so much for being on today.
I think that's probably the best introduction I have ever had. Thank you, Linda. I'm so glad to be here with you.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And before we talk about divorce recovery, if you wouldn't mind sharing what you would like to about your story, because like many, your journey moved you into your calling.
It did, yeah. I like the way you said that. It did. And sometimes setbacks do bring clarity to our calling if we're willing to take those on. I was married for 18 years and had 4 children in that marriage. After I had a breakdown, and I do mean a breakdown, on my bathroom floor in front of my 4 children, that was a wake-up call for me that if I didn't figure out what was not working in my life, I would mess up 4 lives. As a result, I got therapy, I got help, talked to friends, but ultimately, probably about 6 years later, I filed for divorce. Now, it wasn't my husband's fault that I had a breakdown, but it was definitely a lot of baggage that I had and a deep sense of unhappiness in my relationship. Only later did I realize, Linda, that a lot of the unhappiness had less to do with him and more to do with me, although there were things in the relationship that very much made me feel unhappy. And I'll name one just to be specific because I think it would resonate with a lot of women. It was the experience of sacrificing so much career, time, dreams, goals, and never feeling any validation around that. And after having dealt with that for enough years, I was pretty much done. So that's the background of the divorce. And by the way, I wouldn't wish divorce on anyone. I mean, I sit here with a smile on my face and really true joy in my heart. That came only after a lot of inner work to discover who is Pamela Elaine, what makes her happy, what does she want to accomplish in her life, what is she willing to let go of that's no longer serving her. It's a lot of personal development to get to this place of feeling really good about the woman you're interviewing.
And just to pick up on something you said about not wishing divorce on anybody, and I'm right with you, and I think it's really important to understand that even though there are a lot of different professions that are organized around helping people transition through divorce in various ways, none of us want people to get divorced.
This is true.
None of us wish this on anybody. What we want is, given the inevitability, to make the process the healthiest possible for everybody concerned, particularly when there are children involved.
Mm-hmm.
And having said that, tell me a little bit about what a divorce recovery coach does, why somebody would want a divorce recovery coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in particular, if one has children, you want to recover. Why? Because the children's emotional health and emotional recovery has so much to do with how well the parents get along. And I knew that my kids already, who did not ask for a divorce, they were just fine living in a house with two parents who were doing their best to make life okay for them, that in the face of divorce, I had a responsibility, especially as the one who initiated it. I had a responsibility to get myself together, meaning I had a responsibility to figure out why I was so unhappy, what I was bringing to the relationship that was causing a lot of friction, and what I was doing to contribute to my own children's pain. I had to get that clear, because in doing that, my children started recovering better as well. So you want a divorce recovery coach because you want a life after divorce. You want happiness after divorce. You want another love life, I would hope, after divorce. You want to pursue your dreams after divorce. And those things are all possible. But you may not know how. You may have the want, but you don't know how. My job is to show you the how. How you get from where you are to where you want to be. And you get to decide where that is you want to be. For me, all I wanted was to stop crying. I wanted to stop crying. I wanted to stop being unhappy. I wanted to stop fussing at my kids. I wanted to stop sweating the small stuff. I wanted to, when I saw my ex, not to want to take a dagger and do some harm to him. I wanted better for myself. And as a result of that want, I pursued it. I found who can help me. Linda, I have to tell you that when I got divorced, I wanted to know, where are the women? I know they're men too. Okay, sorry. But where are the women?
And we will talk about the men later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who survived this and are now thriving? Because survive is to exist after some difficulty or obstacle. This is why I love the title of your show, this segment. But thrive is to prosper, to flourish. And I wanted to find the women who were flourishing, living life on their own terms. So I got my video camera and I went to find them, and I sat down with them, placed the video camera and said, how did you get through this? What did you do? What was the struggle? How did you get through the struggle? And from there, their stories of recovery inspired my own.
And what were some of the greatest fears and struggles that you consistently found?
Yeah. Will I be alone for the rest of my life? Will I be lonely? Will I ever be loved again? Will I have enough money to survive? Am I good enough for a new life? Those are some of the big ones that were recurrent themes. The main theme of those three was, am I enough? And that rang true for me because, considering am I enough was a recurrent theme in my own life prior to divorce. I brought that into my marriage. Am I enough? Am I enough? And then expecting my husband to affirm, oh yes, you're enough. Of course you are. And sometimes he would and sometimes he wouldn't. But it wasn't enough for me. I wanted more. I wanted it all the time. And that feeling of and that is a fear. It's called a telephobia, which you should know you're completely familiar with. The fear of not being enough was the driving force that really crumbled a lot of who I felt I was and a lot of who I wanted to be, and had to deal with that fear. And a lot of women faced the same kind of fear and worked through it as well. So now they're doing their thing, and I feel like I'm doing my thing too, and it's really a wonderful experience. Did I answer your question?
Yes,
okay,
absolutely. Now, as a licensed marriage and family therapist, I pretty much know the benefits of using a coach as an adjunct, and I partner with coaches when it's appropriate and useful, but can you explain the difference, having been through therapy and having gone into the coaching end? Can you explain to everybody what the difference is?
Yeah, so, and feel free to correct me on this too, because I don't want to misrepresent what therapy does. So the coach's role is to help the individual plot where they want to go. It's sort of a forward-thinking process. I'm here, but I want to be happier, or I want a better relationship, or I want to find fulfillment in a new calling. So we look at how do we get you from where you are to where you want to be, and the tools and the strategies that are required for a coach to get you there. And the coach also holds you responsible, holds you accountable to what you say that you want, with regular check-ins. And are you giving them a map? Are you meeting these milestones towards the goal that you say that you want? And you'll probably be better at explaining what therapy is, but from my purview, therapy is a lot more of assessing what are the barriers in your life in the past that are preventing you or causing the pain or the suffering that you're in right now. So it's a lot of retro in a way, but not necessarily. That's why you're free to correct me on this. Where coaching is a lot of where are you trying to get to? Where is it that your goal is set, so we can help you get to that particular goal. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. I think we have similar goals, although we approach them in different ways. Yes, you are more strategic.
Yes.
Whereas we are more process oriented. And yes, while we do go back and look at what are the things that you've brought into the relationship that you need to work on going forward, so that you're not recreating this endlessly in your next relationship.
Right.
And also, obviously, we as therapists are trained to assess for and treat mental health issues and work specifically around mental health issues that are involved. We also work with the grief aspect, which I would think what you're doing is a little bit more linear than that. Yeah.
Yes, and of course there's a lot of holding space for someone who's grieving, for sure. And sometimes coaching is not appropriate when they're so still deep in the grieving process. It's sort of like when you break your ankle, you need to first do some healing before you go into physical therapy. So it's similarly in that respect. And in addition to that, one other aspect of coaching that's, I think, critical here to point out is we deal a lot with mindset. We help individuals get through a mindset or have a mindset shift. In the coaching world, we believe it's 80% psychology and 20% action. So if I can help the woman understand where her mindset is, her set of beliefs are around her goals, and working so that that mindset is in alignment with what she wants, then we're ahead of the game. So it's a mindset shifting experience that's a primary component of coaching.
And through the therapy process, there also hopefully is a mindset shifting. I think one of the big differences when we're talking about the forward-looking goals is that we as therapists are more or less confined to the hour a week or whatever it is we spend with the client. We can work with them on goal setting. We can help them look at what is going to interfere with you getting in the way of these goals and address those kinds of things. But there is not the same level of hands-on accountability.
Yes.
If they come in next week and they say, well, I didn't do this, we explore what happened, but we're not checking in with them in between. We're not holding their feet to the fire.
Yes. And pushing. So in coaching,
and we're definitely
we
not
push.
pushing.
Yeah, we want you outside of your comfort zone because we believe that's where true growth takes place. So we're pushing individuals to go beyond the fear of moving ahead or moving out or moving through so that they can have what they say that they want. Yeah.
Yes. And so if somebody is wondering, do I need a therapist or do I need a coach or do I need both? If they want a lot of strategic planning, pushing, accountability,
Yeah.
a coach is good. If
Yeah.
they want to deal with the mental health issues, with the family issues,
Yes.
because again, I work with family systems and am prepared to deal with whoever's being impacted in the family, and then you want a therapist, and if you want both, you get both.
Yeah, and I think for men and women who are going through and coming out of divorce should have both, because I think we create a team for the individual and really a team for the family that makes all the difference. When I went through it, I had a therapist and I had a coach. So both of them were pretty important, but I didn't have the coach first. I had the therapist first when I was going through divorce, because there was a lot of deep family stuff that I thought I had worked through, but I hadn't worked through, from my own family is what I mean, from growing up, that I hadn't worked through. And it's so funny because, I don't think you ever get through this. I think you always need to go back to family baggage. I don't know if we ever recover from that stuff, Linda. I think we manage it, but we don't completely recover. Like, I don't know that I've completely recovered from the drama of my childhood, and of course it wasn't terribly awful, but there was enough stuff to keep me hung up. I think it's a managing through it, and when stuff shows up, how to manage the emotions of stuff that shows up and stuff that might get in the way. And when I'm in a new relationship, I'm thinking, oh, you're going to cheat too. It's a lot of working through some of the baggage that still exists, but then also plotting, but here's where I want to be. I want to be fully alive in a relationship. I want to be fully myself. I want to be vulnerable and open-hearted. So those are the things that then you have to work towards.
And clearly, if you're on the bathroom floor having a breakdown, you probably see a therapist first.
I did, and I thank God for that therapist who helped me get through a lot of the pain that I was in, while I kept up the pretense that all was well. I was happy for kids. I was got a husband. I was miserable inside. And the day that I had that bathroom for breakdown was the day I had to come clean with, it ain't okay. And I do mean it ain't okay. Yeah.
Can we talk about the men for a minute?
Okay.
Because even though I think there's more of a culture among men that you just suck it up and move on, and men do get remarried much more quickly statistically than women do, there are a lot of losses, and I know the men need help too. And I think men are more inclined to look for help now that they are more engaged in their children's lives, and they're more engaged with what's happening in the home.
Yeah.
And I know you have been doing outreach to men as well. And so can you talk about some of the problems that men might be encountering, and also how to help them get past the barriers about seeking help?
Yeah, that's such a big area. And, I wish to contribute to a world where men are free to express their feelings, and that it's safe for them to do so, because men hurt too. No matter how we try to spin it, men hurt too. And I'm going to use my father as an example. When my father left our home, I thought that he was just living a great life because he had other relationships outside of my mother. And I just thought he was just great to go off and live a different life. And I was brokenhearted and angry with my father that he had done this and seemed like he didn't care. Fast forward 40 years later, he and I are having a conversation, and he said, yeah, I remember seeing you when I was leaving the house, looking outside the window, and you had tears in your eyes. And I want you to know it hurt me so bad to leave the house. And I said, wait, pause. You said, what? He said, it hurt me so bad to see you crying and for me to leave my family. Linda, that was the first time that I ever heard my father give any kind of emotion around what happened. It changed the whole trajectory of our relationship, and it changed how I felt about men, because up until that time, I could care less how men are feeling. You hurt, that's your problem. But now, having had my father open his heart and tell me how bad he hurt and how he wanted to heal, I am so pro how can we help men. I don't know exactly how to meet their needs, except to say, I can be open and hold the space for your pain and your sadness and your disappointment, and help you also plan a strategy for the happiness that you seek and the wholeness that you desire. That is the best that I can do at this point, until men start calling in and saying, hey, I saw you on Radnor TV. I really want to work with you, and I'd be happy to do that.
Guys, Pamela can help you with that pain. And I know you've done some divorce recovery groups, correct?
Not divorce recovery groups, but I am
Okay.
getting ready to launch one called Welcome to Happiness.
Okay, please
Yes.
talk about that.
Welcome to Happiness is a divorce recovery group that I'm going to be conducting starting in October of this year, where I'm going to hand select 10 individuals who want to go through a journey of happiness, a 10-course or 10-session journey through happiness, where we're going to deal with very specific aspects of how you find personal happiness in order to live a more fulfilling life and have better relationships. Yeah, so people can find out about it from my website, if it's okay to have that listed or to give it to them.
Yes, absolutely. In a minute or two,
Yeah.
I will be asking you to tell
Sure.
people how they can contact you. And will this be an online or a live project?
It is virtual, so it will be online, and every session I will be live with the group, and we'll go through a specific aspect of happiness that they had to have practiced before we get together. So it's going to be really fun, very engaging, very informative training on happiness.
And happiness right now is a hot button topic in the field of psychology.
Yeah, positive psychology, that's correct.
Yes, absolutely. And how do you relate it specifically to divorce recovery?
Because the happiness that I'm tackling is in the domain of personal development. So psychologists are also saying that when you're moving towards personal development or growth, that's where happiness lies, because it's not some exterior thing. So divorce recovery, who doesn't want to be happy? We want happiness because we're unhappy in what's happening to us and what has happened to us. So personal development and personal growth towards happiness is the key. That is our focus and the direction that we're heading. How can we help you be a happier individual, not because someone has done something or isn't doing something, not because of what someone won't give you or did give you that you didn't like, but where inside of you can we tap into the resources to cause you to be the happier person that you know is waiting to be expressed.
One of the things I find I have had quite a number of clients, particularly women, who get divorced and then they organize their lives around their children out of guilt, out of fear, out of not knowing what to do with the next step. And I am thrilled that there are divorce recovery coaches like you who are out there who can take them and say, listen, your kids are an important part of your life, but they're not all of your life.
Yes.
And let's look at how you can create a bigger, more fulfilling life.
Absolutely, and your children will benefit when you create a bigger, more fulfilling life, and it's not just all about them. They're happier.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And how can people get a hold of you, and also how can they get a hold of your book if they're interested?
So I would prefer that people give me a call. 484-478-1322, or website www.PamelaElaineNichols.com. But it's okay to pick up the phone and call and schedule an appointment with me, have a free discovery call with me. I would be delighted for that. Or you can go on my website and get in contact with me as well. My book is on Amazon.com, Muddy High Heels.
Okay. Pamela Elaine Nichols, thank you so much for being
Linda.
here today.
I'm honored.
And good luck with the group. I hope
you.
it fills up.
Yes.
This is Linda Hershman with Relationship Matters for Radnor Cable 21, Cable Studio 21, and we will see you next time.